American author Neil Donald Walsh once said that life begins at the end of your comfort zone. In 2016, I realized that I couldn't agree more. That was the year I left my small Midwestern town to go off to college and expand my knowledge and horizons. Those 4 years were packed full of new experiences, new relationships, and new perspectives that truly opened my eyes to this unparalleled human experience that we call life. But before I get into that, we gotta start from the beginning. I was born to a Ghanaian immigrant father and a Caucasian mother in the not-so-deep south of Kentucky in 1997. I soon moved to Illinois. Growing up biracial in the South and in the Midwest, I quickly realized that I was an outsider. In the year 2000, only 2.4% of the US population identified with more than one racial group. And at that time, I was barely 3 years old. One of my earliest childhood memories was being called a racial slur while my mom was picking up medicine from the local Rite Aid. From being told that I was cute for a black girl, to being followed in stores by employees, I struggled with feeling different. And being raised mainly by my white mother, I never truly felt connected to my African ancestry either. Even when I put myself in black environments, I didn't feel accepted. I still felt othered and excluded by those that I wanted to fit in with. Feeling like a minority within a minority, I was constantly confused and experimenting with self-expression and searching for my tribe. It was only once I went off to college that my tribe began to form. At the end of my freshman year, I took a long shot and applied to be an international student tour guide. That was one of the best jobs I've ever had. I welcomed in people from all across the globe, and within their first few days of arrival, I showed them around campus, and throughout the school year, I taught them how to succeed as a student. But the job was so much more than that. It was an opportunity not only to teach, but to learn about things that I didn't even know I wanted to learn about. I was exposed to new ways of thinking, traditions, foods, and languages, and I quickly became fascinated with different cultures. And I soon realized that I needed to experience these unknown worlds for myself. So I decided to study abroad for a semester in Taiwan. Going there was my first time ever even being on a plane, and arriving there was my first time ever even leaving the country. It was also new to me that I honestly panicked. There was no amount of talking to international students that could have prepared me for becoming one myself. As the semester progressed, so did I. I turned into a humble, adventurous, and even more social version of myself. I learned that I could connect with people from all walks of life, no matter our differences and no matter how little of time I had known them for. I learned how small of a perspective I previously had held on the world, and I realized I wanted to continue growing and leaning into this new version of myself. These days, I continue to surprise myself with how often I push my boundaries and learn and grow from it. I've gained a lot just from being open to the unknown. I've learned more about myself from exploring the unknown than I have from sticking to what I knew. I've studied languages that have taught me new ways of expressing myself. I've taken up activities that literally slow down time and remind me to be one with myself. And I've even applied to jobs where I didn't have enough experience, but I brought the right attitude and the willingness to learn, and ended up getting hired on the spot. My entire life has taught me that the most growth comes from being vulnerable and venturing into the unknown, even if that means doing it afraid. And this is exactly what I'll continue to do in my pursuit of achieving mental clarity and happiness. Because at the end of the day, that's all I want. I think that's all anyone wants out of life, is to be happy and have mental clarity. And although we have different upbringings and perspectives, I believe that most of us are just trying to create a life that we're proud of. And I know that sounds obvious, but regardless, there's something so precious about acknowledging it. It reminds me that even though there's times in my life where I've felt othered, I'm not alone in my search for enlightenment. It's a core motivation that many humans share, even if we all have different ways of getting there. And while my path to enlightenment is still unclear, I understand that the unknown is not something to fear, but rather embrace, because great things come from venturing out into the unknown. With my growing confidence, I will fulfill every dream that my heart has ever desired. All this is to say, I'm going to share my story in its full truth, and I'm going to share any other story that I feel could empower others to live in their truth and stand up for a cause. So keep an eye out for me and my stories.